Top 5 vibration killers every Dark Chosen Ones must avoid. Being a Dark Chosen One is not about dressing in black or speaking in cryptic phrases. It's a sacred role. It means you were born to navigate, command, and ultimately transmute the shadows. You came here not just to awaken, but to awaken through fire. And when you walk through fire, you carry the scent of smoke. You know pain, betrayal, rejection, but you also know power, presence, and piercing clarity. That's what sets you apart. You are not afraid of the dark because you were forged in it. You don't collapse under pressure because your soul trained under cosmic weight. But with that power comes something few talk about: risk. Not physical danger, but energetic sabotage. Silent, slow vibration leaks that rob you of clarity, strength, and divine precision. And they don't scream when they arrive. They slip in like fog and blur the edges of who you are. That's why we must name them, confront them, and if necessary, burn them out. Let's begin with one of the deadliest vibration killers: resentment. As a Dark Chosen One, you've seen more than most. You've been betrayed, underestimated, exiled. People have feared your intensity, misread your silence, and rejected your authenticity. And every time they did, they planted a seed in your field. That seed becomes resentment when you start carrying the pain longer than the lesson. Resentment is not just emotional weight, it's a frequency parasite. It clings to your vibration, feeds on your memory, and slowly distorts your perception of the world. You start assuming people are out to get you. You close your heart while pretending you're just being wise. You block blessings because you don't trust their source. But here's the secret: resentment doesn't protect you, it weakens you. It keeps you anchored to the very frequencies you came here to transcend. A true Dark Chosen One must learn the most paradoxical lesson of all. Forgiveness isn't surrender, it's strategic. You forgive not because they deserve peace, but because you do.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
Now we look at another silent killer comparison. You may not think this one applies to you. You've always been different, a lone wolf, the outsider watching from the edge. But even Dark Chosen Ones fall into this trap, especially in the age of social media, where the illusion of perfection is broadcast 24/7. Comparison doesn't always feel like jealousy. Sometimes it shows up as self-doubt, procrastination, creative paralysis. You look at others rising fast, glowing, being celebrated, and you begin to question your timing. You wonder if you missed your moment, if you're doing something wrong, and that tiny doubt starts leaking energy from your core. You stop trusting your own path. You shift from power to performance, from presence to pretending. And without knowing it, you begin to trade your authenticity for approval. That's how comparison kills vibration, not with noise, but with distraction. It keeps you looking sideways when you were meant to look inward. You were never supposed to follow a timeline. You are the timeline disruptor. When you compare, you betray your cosmic uniqueness, and your vibration dims. The third killer is over-identification with pain. This one is tricky, because as a Dark Chosen One, pain was your first teacher. It shaped your insight, sharpened your vision, deepened your empathy. But there comes a moment when the wound must become a window, not a prison. Some Dark Chosen Ones stay in the suffering because it feels safe, it's what they know. They wear it like armor, mistaking it for strength. They speak only from scars, never from wholeness, and the vibration suffers. Because pain has a purpose, but it was never meant to be permanent. When you keep revisiting the same trauma without integrating it, you don't heal, you loop. And looping is death for the Dark Chosen frequency. It traps you in a lower octave of your own power. It convinces you that you must always hurt to stay true to your path. But your path was never just to endure, it was to evolve. And evolution means learning to speak from the other side of pain, not just from within it. So let me ask you a hard question. What story about your suffering are you still telling, even though it no longer serves your becoming? This is where the reckoning begins. You're not here to be a victim of your darkness. You're here to command it, but command requires clarity, and clarity demands cleanliness. Not in the moral sense, but in the energetic one. You must be clean with yourself. Are you clinging to a version of your identity that's powered by pain, resentment, or ego comparison? If so, you're not just slowing down, you're leaking. Every day, every hour, your energy is being siphoned by invisible habits. Not because you're weak, but because you forgot how precise your frequency is meant to be. Let me tell you something no one ever says out loud. Most dark chosen ones don't fail because of lack of power. They fail because of contamination. Their field gets clouded, their emotions get hijacked, and eventually they start doubting their own signal. That's why this conversation matters. We're not here to diagnose, we're here to disarm, to reveal the traps before they ensnare you. Because the higher your potential, the more seductive the distractions. And if you don't protect your vibration, you'll start wondering why your visions never materialize, even though you know you're destined. The answer won't be out there. It will be in what you're allowing inside. Next, we will step deeper into the shadows, because the remaining vibration killers don't just affect your energy. They rewrite your entire timeline if you let them. The hidden habits that quietly destroy your dark energy mastery. If you're a dark chosen one, mastery isn't a goal, it's your natural state. It's the reason you've always felt a strange pressure from the world, even when you did nothing wrong. It's why your presence changes a room without you speaking. You don't even have to try. But that's what makes these next vibration killers so dangerous. They aren't loud. They aren't obvious. They feel normal. They hide in your everyday choices, your moods, your routines. And if you don't catch them early, they begin to rot your frequency from the inside out. Because the dark power you hold requires precision. And when that precision gets dulled by subtle habits, your transmission becomes distorted. You still look powerful. You might even feel powerful. But beneath the surface, your channel is corrupted. And the universe stops responding to your commands the way it used to. One of the most destructive of these habits is emotional procrastination. It doesn't feel like darkness. It feels like delay. You know something is off. You feel tension in the chest. A conversation you're avoiding. A truth you won't admit to yourself. A step you keep saying you'll take when the time is right. And every time you postpone, your vibration bends. You become slower, heavier, less sharp. Why? Because the truth is the only material a dark chosen one can work with. If you don't face your real emotion, whether it's rage, grief, envy, shame, it festers. And because you're powerful, it festers loud. You become irritable. You say things that aren't fully yours. You attract confusion. That's how spiritual erosion starts, not through one huge mistake, but through small acts of delay. You think you're buying time, but what you're really buying is disconnection. The cure isn't to rush, it's to face, to breathe into the discomfort and say, what am I really avoiding right now? That one question can dismantle an entire vibrational block. Emotional procrastination kills mastery because it replaces raw truth with performance. And performance drains energy faster than any attack from the outside. You start living as a concept of yourself instead of the force you actually are. You start mimicking power instead of radiating it. Another silent killer is entertainment overexposure. Let's be clear, there's nothing wrong with watching a movie, listening to music, or enjoying art. But here's where the vibration breaks, when the entertainment becomes escapism. When your nervous system gets so overstimulated by flashing screens and algorithmic loops that it no longer knows silence. If you're constantly plugged into stimulation, your field becomes reactive instead of responsive. That means you're not creating energy, you're absorbing it. and not the good kind. You absorb the emotional residue of other people's creations, often laced with fear, drama, and trauma. Your own thoughts begin to feel scattered. You lose the edge. You lose the grip on your timeline. You might say, "But I need to unwind." But ask yourself, is what you call relaxation actually relaxation, or is it unconscious sedation? As a dark chosen one, your nervous system must remain clean. Your mind is a portal. If you fill it with chaos, your manifestation channel gets jammed. You try to visualize and nothing comes. You try to act and feel resistance. It's not because you're broken. It's because you're flooded with frequencies that aren't yours. And then comes the third trap, overtalking your journey. This one feels innocent. You're awakening, you're learning, you're discovering cosmic truths, and naturally you want to share. But beware. Every time you speak something sacred before it has been fully integrated, you weaken its vibration. You scatter its power. You turn raw downloads into casual conversation, and that dilutes your current. The more you talk about becoming, the less you embody becoming. You start gaining approval from expression instead of initiation. And the path of the dark chosen one is not about likes, validation, or being seen. It's about becoming a vessel so powerful that words are no longer required. That doesn't mean you stay silent forever, but you speak only from overflow, not from need. This is where the path becomes razor sharp. The more spiritually evolved you become, the less room you have for sloppy habits. There's no judgment in this, only precision. You can't carry casual patterns into a field that demands consecrated energy. And make no mistake, your field is sacred. But sacredness must be maintained. If you allow emotional avoidance, overstimulation, or excessive self-disclosure to go unchecked, you start to feel off. Not broken, just slightly misaligned. And misalignment is how the enemy wins, not by overpowering you, but by distracting you. So here's the deep question: what parts of your daily life feel harmless but are quietly eroding your power? Don't answer quickly. Sit with it. Watch yourself. Observe. This is how warriors train, not by swinging swords, but by noticing how their energy leaks. Your job isn't to be perfect. Your job is to be aware, because awareness creates choice, and choice reclaims power. And once power is reclaimed, your vibration sharpens again. And when that happens, nothing can stop you, not doubt, not delay, not the world. The soulful cost of letting low vibration people stay in your field. You can cleanse, meditate, align your breath with the cosmos, and master every technique in the book, but if your energetic field is still contaminatable, whose vibration pulls you downward, you will feel it. Not as something dramatic or obvious, but as a constant dragging sensation, like walking through mud with invisible ropes tied to your back. Most dark chosen ones carry this weight far too long because they confuse loyalty with purpose. They think compassion means proximity. They think they can save others by remaining close, by being the anchor in someone else's storm. But what they don't realize is that presence is not always service. Sometimes your presence enables delay. Sometimes your love becomes a life raft for someone who has no intention of swimming. This is one of the deepest vibration killers of all, keeping low-frequency people in your field beyond their expiration date. And it is not just an emotional drain, it's a spiritual detour. These people aren't always malicious. In fact, they often appear wounded, charming, needing your light. They might be family, longtime friends, romantic connections, or even mentors who once helped you but are now stagnating your growth. You start to notice the signs. They're dismissive of your evolution. They subtly mock your spiritual practices, or they unconsciously keep you locked in an older version of yourself. And yet you stay. You explain their behavior. You justify your connection. You call it patience. But what it really is energetic self-abandonment. Here's the truth most won't say. Every soul carries a frequency debt or credit. Some people add to your field just by existing. One conversation with them expands your aura. One breath around them calibrates your nervous system. But others take. They speak in ways that flatten your spirit. Their presence creates static. Their energy is not evil, it's just unresolved. And your aura, especially as a dark chosen one, is like a battery to them. The deeper your power, the more appetizing your field becomes to those who haven't claimed their own. And if you're not careful, their chaos becomes your baseline. The cost of this is far greater than discomfort. It affects your clarity. It clouds your discernment. It slows down your manifestations. And most dangerously, it interrupts your mission timeline. Because as a dark chosen one, you are on spiritual schedule. You didn't come here to waste decades in energetic entanglements. You came here to build, to shift, to restructure consciousness from the inside out. And when you allow people into your life who don't resonate with that frequency, you aren't just being kind, you're delaying your own arrival. The future you are meant to collapse into cannot find you when you are vibrating at someone else's level. Now, I know what you're thinking, but I don't want to be cold. I don't want to abandon people. And that's the beautiful part of your heart. But hear me, there is a difference between abandonment and ascension. Abandonment says you're broken, I'm done with you. Ascension says, I'm rising now. You are free to meet me there or stay where you are. One comes from fear, the other from truth. You do not owe your past self or anyone connected to them a life sentence of emotional babysitting. You are not here to water dead plants. You are here to become the wild forest. Let me ask you something serious. Who in your life drains you just by being near you? Who do you feel like you have to shrink around in order to be loved? Whose approval are you still secretly chasing even as you grow more awakened? These questions are not about judgment. They're about sovereignty. Because every time you keep someone around who dulls your edge, the universe pauses. It waits. It doesn't rush to bless confusion. It gives you space to choose alignment or attachment. And whatever you choose determines how fast you rise. You don't need to cut everyone off in dramatic fashion. This isn't about turning cold. It's about becoming precise. Start with boundaries. Start by listening to how your body feels before, during, and after you engage with someone. That's your first data point. If you always feel heavier, unclear, drained after talking with them, you already have your answer. You don't need a sign from the universe, you are the sign. And once you honor your field fully, the universe honors you back. Remember, keeping people around out of guilt is not love, it's bondage. And when you tie yourself to someone else's stagnation, you inherit their karmic loops. Not because you deserve them, but because proximity always has a price. And for a dark chosen one, that price is usually paid in delayed purpose, distorted intuition, and forgotten magic. You start dreaming smaller, feeling foggy, wondering why things don't click anymore. It's not that your path disappeared. It's that you muted your frequency to stay compatible with someone who stopped evolving. So I leave you with this: who must you lovingly release in order to rise completely? Not with anger, not with blame, but with precision, with grace, with soul-level clarity that says, my frequency is no longer negotiable. Becoming untouchable, how dark chosen ones maintain supreme vibration in a fallen world. There comes a moment on every dark chosen one's path when the illusions fade, the masks fall, the distractions lose their flavor, and what's left is the raw, naked truth. You were never meant to blend in. You were not sent here to be liked. You were not designed to fit into systems built on fear, control, and confusion. You were born to overwhelm the code, not with noise but with clarity. Not by imitating light, but by becoming sovereign in the shadows. But that level of vibration doesn't come from wishing. It comes from discipline, from unshakable inner precision. And in a world that is addicted to distortion, that clarity becomes a revolutionary act. To become untouchable doesn't mean you become invincible in the flesh. It means your energy becomes so refined that nothing false can enter without immediate collapse. You walk into a space and everything that's not real starts glitching. People around you feel nervous or inspired, or both, but they feel, because your field doesn't lie. And that's exactly what makes you powerful beyond comprehension. But here's the secret most don't understand. Supreme vibration is not loud, it's clean. You don't reach this frequency by doing more. You reach it by removing what's no longer you. The drama, the doubt, the performative spirituality, the little lies you tell to avoid the bigger truths. All of it. You purify your field until only signal remains. And that signal, once pure, is enough to rewrite timelines. One pure vibration is stronger than 1,000 scattered intentions. Because the universe isn't responding to what you say, it's responding to what you are. So how do you maintain that vibration in a world that wants to drag you into noise? You do it through 3 invisible weapons: ritual, recalibration, and refusal. Ritual is your anchor. In chaos, in confusion, in grief, ritual keeps you centered. It doesn't have to be long or dramatic. It can be one deep breath before speaking, one glass of water you bless before drinking, one sentence you whisper to your higher self before entering a meeting. These small acts done with full presence stabilize your field. They remind your body that you are not here to react, you are here to radiate. Recalibration is your reset. Even masters drift. But the difference is they notice faster. They don't let the fog linger. You must check in with yourself often. You must become skilled at knowing the exact moment your energy drops. And when it does, pause. Don't force. Don't fake alignment. Recalibrate. Ask, what thought did I just agree with? Whose energy did I just absorb? What am I believing that isn't mine? That level of self-awareness makes you sovereign. And sovereignty is the soil of high vibration. And finally, refusal. The most underrated power of the dark chosen one is the ability to say no. No to manipulation, no to guilt, no to half-falanged invitations. Not from fear, not from arrogance, but from alignment. Refusal sharpens your edge. It sends a clear signal to the field. I do not negotiate with what lowers me. And when the universe hears that consistently, it clears a path for you. The doors you were chasing begin to open on their own. Why? Because clean energy is rare and the cosmos always makes room for the rare. So now I ask you to look inward one final time, not with judgment, with devotion. What are you still tolerating that is dulling your magic? What habits, what relationships, what thoughts are still leaking into your temple? And are you truly willing to become someone who refuses to carry what no longer reflects your truth? Because when you do, something shifts, not outside but inside. And from that place, you no longer chase. You attract. You no longer defend. You just exist. And your existence alone becomes a weapon against illusion. That's what it means to be untouchable. That's what it means to be a true dark chosen one. And now, it's your move.